So today's info session is brought to expand your horizons, to really open you up to markets and opportunities beyond our borders. We have collaborated with Strategic Development Group to help deliver the Australian Government's Southeast Asia Professional Placements Program. Our speaker today, Sabina Curatolo, is a leader in impact investment and systems change. Sabina has deep experience advising government, philanthropy, civil society, investors, and purpose-driven businesses on strategy to deliver measurable social and environmental impact alongside financial performance. A recognized ecosystem builder, Sabina has played a pivotal role in developing the impact investing and social enterprise landscape in and from Australia. She's helped mobilize capital, strengthen investment readiness, and foster collaboration across sectors to enable enterprises to scale their impact, including those operating or connected to emerging markets such as Southeast Asia. Sabina serves on boards and advisory groups, including working with Breakthrough Victoria, UniMelb, and is known for her collaborative leadership and practical approach to developing solutions that deliver positive long-term outcomes. Please help me welcome Sabina. Thank you.
Am I on now?
Yeah, I think it should be working.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, if you want to try now.
Try again? There we go. Thank you. Thanks for that introduction. I wonder who wrote that bio. Before I start, I'd just like to add my acknowledgements to the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today. And thanks all of you for introducing yourselves this morning. It's so exciting to hear about all of the businesses that are starting up here in StartSpace. It's such a great place, and we're delighted to be partnering with you, Amir and team. I'm just going to find my notes. So get myself organised. So my name is Sabina Curatolo, and I'm here on behalf of the Strategic Development Group. And we've been engaged by DFAT to support this very exciting program, the Australian Southeast Asia Professional Placements Program. And we're calling it a program, but the truth is it's a prototype. And so it's running until June. We hope, it's been going for some months now. It's pretty successful. We hope that it will be able to continue, but we don't know. So if what I say today piques your interest, then I would ask you to act with urgency to get involved. I'm going to start with a show of hands because everyone loves audience participation. Could you please put your hand up if you, and I recognise that your businesses are at the very, very early stage, but the question is, have you thought about or have you already engaged in Southeast Asia through your business? Please put your hand up. Yep, got a couple of people. So in that case, this might be an opportunity for you to take that path. For those of you who haven't thought about it, then perhaps this might be an opportunity for you to take that forward. And I guess I'd really like to encourage you to think about that. The program that I'm going to talk to you about today came out of a report from the Australian Government Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. It's called Invested, Australia's Southeast Asia Economic Strategy to 2040. And I know that government reports can be dry. I actually encourage you to read this one, or at least have a look at the executive summary, because what it does is it really highlights the opportunities that are really existing between our region, between Australia and the countries in Southeast Asia. So what we're seeing is that, Southeast Asia is on track to be the fourth largest economy by 2040. And there are really great opportunities for Australian businesses to participate in that economic growth. Not only that, when we talk to companies that are starting out and they think about growth, they start to look at the UK and the US. But Southeast Asia is on our doorstep, and it is, as I said, it's growing quite fast. There's a growing middle class, and Australia is also very attractive to the region because we have, we're gaining status for our strong markets, capital, and just being a good partner. So I would encourage you to have a look at that, and this might be the step that you can take to do that. Because one of the things we do find is, when I talk about Southeast Asia, it's a block because the countries are in close proximity. But we recognise that there's great diversity amongst the different countries. And so for Australians to think about engaging, there are cultural barriers, there are language barriers, and there are other, other barriers that to entry. I think in any kind of business relationship, trust has to underpin to be able to have a successful relationship. And so how do you go about building that trust? How do you go about learning about the knowledge? This program is not going to help you with the language barriers. You'll have to undertake that one yourself. But we can help by building people-to-people relationships through building business-to-business connections. And that is laying the groundwork for trust and relationship building and network building. So what is this program? We're calling it a professional placements program. And so what that means is that there are 2 ways to participate, and you can avail yourself of both. The first way is that you can actually travel to Southeast Asia. So you or a member of your team can actually go and find a partner business in the region and actually be placed and work with that business from anywhere between 2 weeks to 12 months. I'll talk a little bit more about that in detail in a few slides. Or you might choose to host someone from the region to come and work with your business. Now, as a startup, you might say that's less possible, but what we're talking about is actually having someone side by side with you undertaking, a joint program that's going to be mutually beneficial. And the benefits of getting involved are multiple. I already talked about the fact that you're actually building those connections at that people level, building that trust, learning about how business is done in another country, learning about the different cultures, what is the landscape, what is the market, how do you actually, what are the opportunities? But we also know that it might develop a pipeline of, whether it's your supply chain, whether it's different human resources going down, and building your own capability to engage, learning from our neighbours, and they can be learning from us. And also, because this is it's not an internship, we're talking about, yes, early stage career professionals, but people who already have at least 3 years of professional working experience, up to the age of 40 years of age. So people who actually are already working in their countries, in businesses, liaising, together. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this slide, and I'm going to read it out a little bit because I don't want to get this wrong, because this is what the program offers. So I don't want to overpromise. But basically, DFAT is offering to pay an economy flight between Australia and the region, and they will also support the cost of a visa and as well as appropriate travel insurance. And then there may be, in particular cases, there may be some additional financial support. It doesn't offer salaries, so that is a cost that you have to bear yourself, as well as accommodation. But in addition to that, the way it could work is that you might already know a business if you're an Australian business, you may already identify a business in Southeast Asia that you'd like to work with, and we can facilitate that. If you don't have that relationship already, then we can help you find the right match based on your criteria and what your business needs. This is, it's quite an unusual government program, and that's what makes it exciting, is that it's not prescriptive. So when we look at the range of services that are provided, it's not a hand-holding and exactly telling you how you should go about availing yourself of the program. It's saying, what do you need? We're going to help you make the connections, and we'll help you get there, or help you to bring the right people here. But what you do with that is really tailored to your needs based on what your business needs at the current stage that it's at and what it needs to grow. So we will support you to find those business placements. We'll help you get all of your pre-departure things in place. And during the placement, we'll also provide pastoral care and we'll help you, with insurance and if things go wrong while you're there. Don't forget, this is a DFAT program, so we have our strong DFAT networks in every of the 10 eligible countries. And then after the placement, we don't want it to be a one and done. We do want it to be the beginning of a long ongoing relationship. So we'd like to support you to make that possible. And that also means that, you might do a reciprocal. So it might be that a member of your team or more travels to the region, you develop strong business connections, maybe you want to bring people back. I'll keep going. Maybe we'll take questions at the end, but if you've got questions of clarification, do ask me. Also, a very important slide is the eligibility. So it's quite a broad eligibility, but there are boundaries there have to be. So placements can take place from 2 weeks to 12 months, depending on the business's needs, and they are between business to business. So they're taken part by a person representing that business. And as I said, the goal is really about building those business-to-business relationships, which we know are formed at a people-to-people level. I've also talked about the age limit, so you must be 40 years or younger and not straight out of uni, please. Like, we do want people who've actually already been working in the workplace and have something more to contribute, and need to have appropriate English language ability. And then the other very important thing is which are the eligible countries. They are Australia, Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Timor-Leste, and Vietnam. In addition to the program that I've just spoken about, we are also running a special Melbourne edition. So between the 20th of April and the 8th of May, we're actually running a facilitated cohort. So we're bringing 20 people from the region to Melbourne, and we're running 3 days of orientation and then 2.5 weeks bound project where they'll be placed in businesses. We've already got at least 10 hosts, so the places are filling up. So if you'd like to be a host for this program, then please, again, act quickly and get your expression of interest into us so that we can help make that happen. So this one is time-bound. It's a little bit different to the regular program because, as I said up front, this is a prototype and we're really testing what does the market need? What can DFAT's assistants here do to help, actually? So let us know as well if you have any feedback on the program and if this isn't the right fit, what could work? What would actually be better for you, for your circumstances? And finally, just thought I'd show you some of the successful case studies of people who've already participated in the program. So here we have Maisuli. She came to Sydney from Laos. She's working in Laos with XM Technovator, which is focused on sustainability solutions. And she was placed in Sydney at Greenhouse, and they're a climate tech innovation hub. And if I could draw your attention to her quote at the bottom, where she says, "This is a huge climate tech ecosystem in Australia, and there are many opportunities for future relationships." And that's one of her key takeaways, is that she hadn't been aware of just the burgeoning size with Australia, and so that's something that she's taken back to Laos. And then equally, Greenhouse has provided feedback about how useful it was to have her amongst their cohort. We had Fadil from Indonesia come out, and he went out to the regions, out to Wollongong, and he worked with Disruptor Media, who's they do film restoration and distribution. And he came from Luminé is a 3D animation studio. And so, they were talking about really having tried. So Disruptor Media really was trying to build relationships in Indonesia and didn't know where to start. And so by having this placement, that's an entry point. Now they know a little bit more about the market that they want to enter into, and importantly, they have someone to connect with when they do that. And then the final case study that I'll show you today is with Bulk Box Food and Culinary Heritage Organisation in Indonesia. I've put the wrong name there. The host is actually called Atelier Rasa, and they're a culinary heritage organisation. And Bulk Box Foods is a distribution, they do the whole food chain here in Australia. And so Dominic went to Indonesia and was hosted by Atelier Rasa, and also was able to take part in some of the wraparound services that DFAT was able to provide, so some of the networking opportunities and actually also engaging with other businesses on the ground. And again, you see the same kind of feedback coming through where he said we really wanted to get on the ground and be able to network with the right people, ask the right questions, and because researching from abroad and trying to understand the administrative red tape can only get you so far. So I think that's really a key takeaway, is that you can do all of your research from home, but nothing replaces actually being on the ground or hosting people who know the market. I might end it there and take questions. There's so much more that we can say, but I would highly encourage you to visit our website. I've got some flyers here if you'd like to take them. And if you are interested, please send us your expression of interest, and that starts the conversation. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Sabina.
Not yet.
Is it? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's such a great opportunity, especially for early stage founders before maybe the very big commitment to explore this opportunity and get that enrichment in different markets. Any questions in the room? Questions, thoughts? Yep. Just start with you, Paul.
Thank you. From a DFAT perspective, what are some of the overarching measures of success in the short, medium and long term for this placement program?
So really what we're looking at from the DFAT perspective is it's actually measuring whether the program is useful, whether this is the right vehicle. The objectives that we're trying to meet are those which are laid out in the strategy. It's helping to build that trade and economic flow between Australia and the region. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
I was just interested in, maybe it's online, but what the application process actually looks like.
Thanks for that question. Yes, I didn't go into that. So if you visit this website, which is on the screen right now or in the flyers, there's actually a form for an expression of interest. It's not onerous. We know that particularly startups are time poor. So it's really just asking for who you are, what is your interest in undertaking the program, and what kind of, whether you already have a match or if you'd like to be matched with someone. The other very important thing that I noticed I didn't say is that there are key sectors. The three key sectors that we're looking for is the energy transition, digitech, and finance and investment. However, there are broader opportunities. I highlighted, there was the one around cultural sector focus, agri-food is another. So we are open, but what we've recognised from the work that was done in that the 2040 invested report is that there are key opportunities, key sectoral opportunities between Australia and the region. That's a question over here.
Yeah. Please.
Very short and sweet. The age limit.
Yes.
Can you tell me the thinking behind that?
I can't tell you the thinking behind that because I don't know. I assume it's Actually, I don't know. I better not even. I inherited that. Yeah.
Other questions?
If it helps, I'm not eligible myself.
Any other questions in the room? Yeah, Jake?
What would hosting look like?
So hosting is you need to be able to provide an office space or desk. We have been talking to Amir, StartSpace, for the Melbourne placement. StartSpace has agreed to provide an opportunity for a placement desk, if that's what was required. A safe workplace and meaningful work. So what we're finding is that people are, for the Melbourne placement opportunity, that bound 2.5-week one, is that we're finding that people are coming up with projects that can be undertaken which are mutually beneficial. So it could be like a landscape, a market landscape, or actually working on a particular campaign or something that is time-bound. For a longer placement, maybe you have to negotiate with Amir on that one.
Okay, so it's not couch surfing.
Not couch surfing. And accommodation doesn't mean hosting them in your house. I'm talking about a business hosting. Accommodation is like where you sleep at night. That is a separate item. And that again has to be, those costs have to be agreed business to business. And this is where I talked about it's not, this is DFAT as an enabler. We know that for businesses to succeed, and you will have heard this ad nauseum, but you have to have skin in the game. I know that all of you, by being here as startups, we heard from someone who's given up her job just recently, it's all in. And your business has, that's how it's going to be successful. So,
yeah. On that, so is business-to-business couch surfing eventually okay, or is it something that the government, like a hard no? Okay, so accommodation. Okay, no, it's good to know. It's a fair question. I think many
it's a
people
great
would love
question,
that,
Amir, and
it is government after all.
And it's not assumed that the host would provide the accommodation, but we don't think that inviting someone to your business and saying, hey, you can sleep on my couch at home is really the right way to start. So no, we're not supportive of that kind of relationship.
For the eligibility, it's only for Australian companies, or you can register overseas, like US or other places can still do that?
It's a two-way opportunity. So it's for Australian businesses to go to the region, or for businesses in Southeast Asia to come to Australia. Because I'm talking to an Australian audience, my slides have been focused on that, but we have people in the region who are talking to businesses in the region. It's very much a two-way program.
Okay, I think I'm more asking, saying if, for example, we are hosting here in Australia,
yes,
but the company is registered overseas.
That's perfect. It's
okay.
Oh, your company is registered overseas. Let's talk about, because that's it's, as I said, it's a prototype, and we're looking at, well, what are the things that are going to be useful to build the trade between our country and the region.
Good, thank you.
Other questions? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Am I restricted to just a one-off thing, or can I apply for two?
You can apply for two.
As in, I want to start and it's my own intellectual property, a reality TV format with startups in Australia. But what I'm going to do is ship Jakarta across and ship Singapore across, so that they can have a look and have a hand in the production.
Yep.
So when they go back to Jakarta, they like hit the ground running, as opposed to, what do we do next?
Yes. Yes, that sounds like a very interesting opportunity. On the face of it, that sounds like it meets the eligibility criteria. So again, we can't know until you put in your expression of interest, and then we'll talk to you about your particular circumstances.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On that, what would put, for anyone in the room, what would put them ahead in their application process? What are you looking at? How can an applicant kind of, be ahead of the general application curve?
I talked about the 3 priority sectors, but I think the most important at this stage it'll only be competitive when we run out of places. So at this stage, you know, really that you meet the eligibility criteria and that you meet our, you know, once we undertake the due diligence, the threshold at this stage is quite open, it's quite low, yeah.
And are you confirming eligibility or applications ongoing as
Ongoing,
you
a
go?
rolling
Okay, so it's not
basis.
applications closed and then, so
No.
there's the benefit of getting in as soon as you can and putting in that value
Thanks,
that you'd be
Amir.
able to provide.
That's
Yeah.
very important, that people get their applications in as soon as possible, and also because noting that at this stage the program has an end date. As I said, we hope it rolls on, but we can't know. There's a lot of things that it won't just be whether the program is successful or not that determines whether the program continues. As you know, budget constraints with government and a whole range of other reasons will determine that. So what we do know is that it is here and it's alive until June. So yeah, I think I'm very excited by this program. We've seen terrific outcomes, and I would love for this membership to be able to participate. Sorry, I think there was one question there.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds like an amazing program. I'm just curious, so for instance, is it possible to have if it's a 2-week placement, but it's actually a 3-week trip, so 1 week you can do languages? Is it possible to have the flights further
Yes.
apart?
Yeah.
Okay, great, amazing.
Take a couple more questions.
One quick question. Sorry, maybe I missed, but we are referring to the government. Is it a state government or federal government?
It's federal government, it's the Australian government through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and it's an initiative that's come out of the report, which is it's called Invested 2040, and it's a very strong report.
We'll take one more question, if there is a question.
What would be the average timeline from application to...
The question was, what's the average timeline from putting in your expression of interest to actually being placed?
Thank you.
We're very quick. So usually it really depends on the circumstances, but we have mobilised in weeks, because we understand as well that particularly for earlier stage businesses, you need to move quickly. So weeks, not months.
Has anyone done study exchanges during studies? Or it's really one of the most memorable experiences. So it really can also be, besides the professional aspect of it, a memorable once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I think. And I'd love to see many of you engage in this program, whether, see you in Southeast Asia or see Southeast Asian professionals engage with startup and StartSpace members and founders. So if you're interested, please, we've got stars on the names of anyone interested. So Sabina, you can also engage with them. But please, let's give it up for Sabina. Thank you all so much for coming in. We'll just conclude formal proceedings, get back into networking, come have a chat with Sabina, have a chat with each other. But thanks again for coming in this morning.